In front of me, you can see a water fountain. Water is a Newtonian fluid, which means that it behaves the way we expect of a fluid. The more stress in its flow, the more easily it flows. Equivalently, the faster I move my hand through a Newtonian fluid like water, the more easily I can pull my hand through. The fluid resists less. What I'm making here is a non-Newtonian fluid. It doesn't behave in this intuitive way. We're going to investigate the way that this fluid, made from 2 parts corn flour and 1 part water, responds to stress.
Here you can see that as we stir it, the part that we're applying stress to near the fork becomes more solid and crumbles as we push it, while the parts that are away from the fork are flowing around like water. Now let's see what happens when we apply a little bit more force.
So the cornstarch and water looks like a liquid, moves like one, so it's going to take a lot of self-belief to actually hit this and be sure that it's not going to just splash up at me. But so applying the pressure makes it a solid, but if I go slowly, I just sink right in.
Now watch as Paul puts his finger into the fluid. As he pulls up, the surface tension causes stress as the lifting fluid pulls the surrounding fluid, which becomes more resistant to flow. This means it doesn't just flow away, it's actually drawn up instead. Now, let's apply a little more force. Now, if we turn this bowl slowly, then the fluid is actually acting more like a liquid because there's not much force being exerted on it. However, you can see as I turn it more quickly, there's more force being put on the fluid, which is making it act more and more like a solid.
So the interesting thing is, if you get a handful of this stuff, it feels and looks like a solid. It doesn't even feel liquid at all, but as soon as I stop applying the pressure to it, it just collapses into a liquid.
If some is good, more is better.
So here we have our bucket full of cornstarch and water, looking all liquidy. Our helpful volunteer will now stomp on it and show that it's, with pressure, solid. And now he'll sink it straight in. And we see that it's liquid without that pressure applied.
In case you want to try your hand or foot at non-Newtonian fluids, here's the recipe. We hope you enjoyed learning about non-Newtonian fluids as much as we did.